Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Belinda here from Visualized NZ, and today is Tuesday here in New Zealand. So if you know my channel, you know what today is. It is Trash Craft Tuesday. Always excited to do these videos. It's so much fun and a real challenge. But first up, I want to share this little bit of happy mail that I received. It came from Teresa. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Teresa. Could be Teresa, I'm not sure. Differences in country of origin mean differences in pronunciation. So I do apologise if I'm not saying it correctly. So Teresa's in America, and she sent me this lovely envelope of scraps for when Lydia and I were collaborating on Scrappy September. Unfortunately, because of the way the postal system is, it did not arrive until October, but it has arrived, and she sent me a lovely little handwritten note and this lovely little ATC that she made, which is super cute. Thank you so much, Teresa. It's beautiful. So they'll go in my journal, as will the envelope. It's been beautifully decorated. I've just covered over my address and her address, but there's lovely stickers and washi tape. The postage stamp's really cool. It's round, and this lovely washi tape. So that's the outside. So the envelope will go in my journal as well. And inside is just a bunch of random scraps. Now I will link her Instagram account in the description below because she does, I believe, do vintage scraps and vintage papers and things for people. I don't think she's on Etsy. I had a quick look and couldn't find her, but I'll link her Instagram in the description box anyway. So I've got the scraps to the side here. This is not a scrap. This is gorgeous. It's a silver doily. It's just beautiful. So that might end up in my own journal as well because it's very cool. I haven't seen anything quite like that. So let's get down to Trash Craft Tuesday. I will be using the scraps from Teresa, and I will also be using this pottle of scraps. Now all these scraps are ones that actually fit more or less into this little plastic container here, and this container I keep on my desk to put in the tiny scraps, but I only recently started doing that. So when I was doing yesterday's video and filing away bits of paper, I noticed that there was lots of tiny scraps in amongst all the bags of scraps and pages and things. So I went through this morning and pulled out anything that basically fitted in this pottle, and it's overflowing. Like, I need to deal with these. They just get in the way, they get damaged. I go for the bigger scraps typically, you know, when I'm looking, and then I tear it and tear off bits and end up with more tiny scraps. So I'm on a mission to take care of those. So I've got a clean pottle to restart. And I've got this junk mail here. Now this junk mail I got, excuse me, I got several of these in the box of trash that I got from my neighbour. And I have to admit, I was on the verge of just putting them in the recycling bag because I couldn't come up with any ideas. And what I'm going to do is not revolutionary. It's not new. It's not possibly even interesting for you to watch. So please do craft along. If you've got something on your table, get busy because this is going to be a lot of gluing. I'm going to collage on it. I'm going to create masterboards essentially, but with a purpose. I need to make some gifts to send out with sales when I make sales, and I'm hopefully going to be launching Patreon in November, so I want to have things ready to send out with for my mail tier. I'm assuming I'm going to have a mail tier. I haven't. Oh, there's so much I need to do. But so my purpose in this is these will become most likely journaling cards. Right, and I'm going to get busy as I talk because otherwise it's going to be like a million hours long. And nobody wants that. So I'm using this as my base, and then I will back it with something. Okay, that's not straight, so I'm going to pop it in the middle instead of the corner. I'm not worrying about torn edges, straight edges, just whatever these pieces are is how they're going to get laid down. And try and not think too much about it. There's a random assortment of papers. I didn't have too many texty scraps that were small, so there's not a lot of that in here. I might end up having to trim around the edges because a lot of these won't have a squared off corner. That one did. So I'm starting on the cover. I'm just getting to it. So, you know, if you've got this junk mail, it is a perfect base for collaging. If you don't want to use up good paper that is, you know, would be wasteful to just cover it over and not see it, then grab some junk mail out or any sort of scrap paper that you like. It doesn't really matter, it's just a base. And then this is super thin, which is another reason why I couldn't think of anything to do with it. I did try origami with it, but it's very slippery, and it tears very easily, so when you're doing your creases and folds and things, I found it just tore. So I threw that idea out the window, or onto the fire, as the case may be. So because this is so thin, by the time you layer it up with a backing and your collage on the front, it's going to be a lot more sturdy, but still not super thick, which makes it ideal for not adding too much bulk into your journal, rather than using some thicker paper as your backing for the collage. So I'm just grabbing as they are sitting in the pottle. I'm not choosing, I'm just putting down. So it's going to be a conglomeration of colours and paper types and cut and torn and just everything really. And I think there's something nice to be said about just grabbing whatever your hand lands on and sticking it down. So I'm going to go through a lot of glue pages here because that glue page is going to get awfully sticky. So, and I'm just using where there is a straight edge, trying to use that against the edge of the page to make it all, see, there's glue all over that. It'll dry, it'll be fine. Yeah, so just the freedom in just slapping down whatever comes to your hand, rather than being considerate of colour or pattern or what you want the end result to be. I think sometimes completely random works really well. Right, there is some images in amongst these bits here from Teresa. Like this cute little, it's actually a sticker, so no, I won't be putting that on. And they're stickers. Cool, love stickers. So not all of these will be suitable to pop on here. Here's a little bit of mark making she's done on magazine paper, which is super pretty. Really like this. And it's fun to have scraps that aren't your own to play with, because they're new and exciting. So this is a bit of cardstock, so I don't want to do card on this. A little bit of scripty bit cut with decorative scissors. That's a cool idea. And then, you know, if there's bits that you're not happy with once you've collaged it up and you think, well, that's a bit clashing, or, you know, it's not quite working for you, then just go in and add more bits over top. A strip to cover a bit where everything intersects, or, you know, there's lots and lots of ways. Here's a little bit, another little bit of magazine paper. And I think it's fun also to try and make the pieces fit together. If you're into jigsaw puzzles, then this is like a big jigsaw puzzle, really. Right, I'm actually going to glue down here for a little bit. This is something I forget to do actually when I'm doing masterboards, is actually gluing on the masterboard itself. Can save you cleaning up some mess or extra glue pages, because I must admit I do have a lot of glue pages that need attending to as well. But you know, one thing at a time. Whoops, gouged out my glue on that. It wasn't fabulous. That's a bit of matte magazine page that I'm just gluing down. Right, let's go back into this pile. And some of these bits I will break in half just so they're easier to deal with. Yeah, so I'm not trying to make smaller scraps. It's just the manageability of the pieces. That feels like old magazine paper, that. I think it is old. Just looking at which side of the paper I might want. Don't think it really matters. Let's just pop it down. Right, there's another bit of cardstock. Right, I've used the blue side. Do I want to use the other side? Let's use the other side just because. Oops, it's almost glued itself down there. Pop it there. So, what can I tell you today? I don't know that I've got too much to tell you. Had a lovely visit from my mum yesterday, which is why I was doing the tidy up and the clean up for my mum's visit. She hasn't been out for about 6 months, she said, so yeah, wanted to have the place semi-presentable. So that was really lovely. Gave them lunch, mum and my stepdad, and yeah, had a nice visit with them, so that was lovely, because we hadn't gotten in to see them for probably a couple of months with being sick and everything. It's a bit of envelope, that's a cool bit of envelope. So yeah, so that was lovely. And then they went from here to visit my brother, who lives not too far from me. Yeah, so hopefully they had a nice trip out. Where they live is about an hour away from where I live. So yeah, so that was cool. And then we just spent a relaxed afternoon really after they left. The house was clean and tidy, so chores were basically done. So yeah, it was nice just to have a relaxing afternoon after they left, because it was a public holiday yesterday. Hubby went for a nap, as he usually does in the weekends, although it was a Monday. He went for a nap, and I watched YouTube and played with some making ephemera and bits and pieces, which I really enjoyed. And I didn't get into doing any computer work yesterday. I thought about it, but it turned quite cold in the afternoon. So I thought, well, I don't really want to be cold in the office. We didn't light the fire, but it was getting to the point where we really needed to. It's a bit like a card from a cover of a magazine or something, so I might not use that bit here. Yeah, so I just played around and caught up on some YouTube and stuff like that. It was really nice. And today I am hoping to do some recording ahead. I'm out this afternoon for an hour or so, which, yeah, perhaps not the best timing, but it's reliant on somebody, so when somebody else is available. So, you know, you've got to do these things when you have the time and opportunity. So yeah, so maybe I'll be able to record again when I get home from there. Hope so, because I am probably going to be out a few days this week, I'm not sure. It's a short week, of course, with the holiday yesterday. So I'm out on Friday. Once a month, one side of my family has what they call the cousins lunch, and one of the group chooses the venue and organises it, and then whoever wants to go or can go turns up and connects with the wider family for an hour or two. And I don't often get to go, but this month, it's in my local town where my husband works, so I'm going to go to it. So that's on Friday, so definitely will be out Friday. Thursday I'm not sure about, but I've got another whole book challenge video to get done and put up for I think Thursday American time, so probably Friday here. So I need to get that video done ahead of time. Tell you what, life's just seemed to have got really busy. Now that I'm well, recovered from colds and everything, I'm running out of room, would you believe? For these larger bits anyway. What was I saying? I can't remember. Gosh, my head's all a bit scatterbrained this morning. I was sitting up in bed this morning and had a couple of cats around me and was a little bit too forceful in my movements and ended up whacking the back of my head against the wall. Absolutely dumb thing to do. Like, I don't even really know how I managed to do that, but I did, and it was fine. Like, it hurt at the time, but didn't leave me with any lasting bumps or anything. But I have developed a little bit of a headache, and I'm thinking maybe I rattled my brain a bit when I hit, because it was a big wallop. And my husband wanted to check for any damage, and it was like, no, it's fine. Like, it's fine. And honestly, it is fine. But I've just got this little bit of a headache, and it's like, yeah, that possibly could be from hitting my head. So totally dumb. These things happen. I'm beginning to tear bits now as I'm filling in the smaller gaps, because I've got small enough pieces, but I'm just grabbing whatever's sort of uppermost. So one of those dumb things that just kind of happen. I've actually got this, because I'm using magazine paper with a design on it, sometimes hard to see what's collaged and what isn't. And it's like bits I think I've collaged are actually just the design on the junk mail. So there's quite a few big spaces still that I hadn't realised. So let's use a bigger piece. So that happened this morning. And the other thing that happened this morning is when I got up and went through to the bathroom, I could hear this sort of almost knocking sound or tap sound. And I knew straight away what it was, because our toilet shares a wall with the laundry. And it's like our youngest cat has been just a little bit interested in the laundry lately and exploring it. And I thought, our youngest cat, Georgie, is trapped in the laundry. And so when I went to wash my hands in the laundry, I very slowly opened the door, because I knew he would be right behind the door. And sure enough, there he was, very grateful to get let out. And he's in good company, because all of our cats at one point or another have become trapped in a room in the house, because there's certain rooms we don't let them have free access to, and the laundry's one of them. And yeah, so he's in good company. They've all been there, done that. But when I said to my husband that he'd locked Georgie in the laundry by accident, He was like, oh, I wondered why Georgie was crying. I thought he was outside and I could hear him crying, so I was talking to him and asking him what was wrong, and he just kept talking and crying. It's like, yeah, good one. He was asking to be let out of the room. Poor Georgie. So he did give my husband a little bit of a glare when he came up onto the bed. Poor Georgie. This looks like a printable. I wonder if it's mine that got mixed up in the scripts from Teresa, because it looks like one of mine. That's the thing with scraps. They do cross-contaminate, even though I haven't actually used these scraps from Teresa before. Just pick up a random bit and shove it in a envelope is all too easy to mix them up. I feel like that's a bit too close to that other yellow bit. Just shove it in the middle. As you fill up your gaps, you tend to automatically start thinking a bit more about placement, and that's not what I want to do. I just want to have the freedom to just lay bits down haphazardly, but it's really hard to turn off that brain thing. That's an old bit of magazine too. Bit of black, don't mind a bit of black for a bit of contrast. You must have a good supply, Teresa, of old bits and pieces. Let's fill that gap. Yeah, so that's the adventures of the morning. What else is going on? I did some good work on my Patreon printables for when I launch, so they're coming along nicely. That happened on Sunday afternoon. I got some time in the office. It was lovely and warm, and yeah, so I feel a bit better about being organised for that now. Right, that bit's going out. Sometimes you just got to know when to throw a bit out. It's like, gets ridiculous otherwise. If you don't have tiny scraps, you know, and you want to do a masterboard like this, use whatever scraps you've got. Or if you don't have scraps at all, what are you doing if you don't have scraps? Just print off some things, grab some magazines and look for bits in the background that you like the texture, colour, pattern of. You know, use whatever you've got or want to use. It varies for me according to what I'm doing. Right, there's a strip in the back there that's not collaged, so let's fill that in. Almost need to change my glue page again. My bits are sticking to it. Use bits of printables, print out some things, printables that you might have, and tear those up. Can never have too many scraps. Well, you can actually, and I'm kind of proving that, aren't I, that I've got too many scraps. I need to deal with these, and I've hardly made a dent. I left out some scraps of larger jelly print bits, but looking at my pottle, like I've barely made a dent in it, so I don't think I'll need that pile of larger scraps at all. I think I've got more than enough to do this whole booklet here, and there's quite a number of pages in it. So don't worry, I'm not going to go ahead and do the whole thing on camera, because that would be super boring, and I honestly need to save some of my voice for other videos I need to get done. So So what I might do is once I've got this bit covered, if we've still got some time, I might back it, and I'm not going to collage, well, not tiny collage the back. I might collage the back, just depending. I haven't sort of thought too much about it. Right, now I'm going to just fold this because I've got so many book pages ready to turn into journaling cards and things. I need to stop adding to it, so I'm just going to use that as a glue page as well, and then once it's all gluey I am going to put it on the fire because it is cold today. We had 27 degrees on Sunday when I looked at the outside temperature, and this morning it was 11, so this is Tuesday. So it's huge changes, and you feel the cold even more when you drop significantly. Oops, missed the edge of that one, so let's just put a little bit extra glue on that. So those big changes in temperature really are far more noticeable than a small drop. Just taking off the thicker bit of that. Really like this pattern. We don't get ones like this in New Zealand. And I am going to be fussy and tear off the white edge. I don't know, just because. Yeah, so I'm trying to be a bit more ruthless because yeah, I'm probably a bit of a hoarder of craft supplies. Find it very difficult to get rid of things. And I'm trying to improve that. I'm trying to use them or downsize in some form by gifting, passing on, or getting rid of things that aren't really worth keeping. Like, you know, so many of these glue pages, I've got a bag of them ready to make up. I don't need to add any more to it. So let's just use it as a glue page and then I can throw it out. Right, I think I've just got this strip down here to fill in. So we're almost there. If you're still hanging with me, great job. And once I've got this done, then I'll look at my fingers, they're so black. I will back it and see how we get on as to whether we've got time to make it into some journal cards. I suspect we probably won't have time, but I will check once I've got it ready. Right, I think that's all ready, and I can feel that's a lot thicker than these pages. Like, it's nice and sturdy now. Right, so I'm just going to tear it away from the booklet, and so I've still got all those pages, and I've got like 3 or 4 of those whole things. Although one I did cut down. Grab it. I chopped the top off and then made the bottom into squares for doing origami, but yeah, didn't work that well. So, but by all means, feel free. That is another idea if you want to give it a go. If your magazine or junk mail or whatever you're using is a bit sturdier and doesn't tear the same, and is not glossy, because when it's glossy or shiny, it's hard to fold and keep straight because it slips around a bit too much. So yeah, that's another idea. You could always use it for origami. Right, I'm going to get rid of this bit. Stick it in my rubbish bin. There we go. Right, backing paper. What do I want to back it with? I wish I had some butcher paper to hand, but I put it away. So I don't have a sheet of butcher paper handy. Okay, I'm going to go the easy route, I think. Actually, no. Here we go. I've got this pad of newsprint paper. So let's do that. So I'm going to put, yep, that's a cleaning page before I get the whole front all gluey. I'm going to put glue on this and then lay the butcher paper over top. Butcher paper, newsprint paper, it's the same type of paper. You have been using this pad to jelly print on, but since it's handy, I am just going to use it for backing this. Nice and quick and easy. Take a couple of sheets to do the whole back and then it's done. And also I like the idea of using this newsprint because it's thin, so the whole thing is not going to end up too thick and yet it's still going to be sturdy. I didn't get in the edge, under the edge there, so let's just make sure I get that edge glued down. There we go. Don't want anything popping up, although I can always glue it later once it's cut up. If we get bits that are not stuck down, just go on with some more glue and stick it down. It's all good. Right, so really quite quickly you come together with a good base to use for whatever you want to make, whether it be pockets or journal cards or tags or as pages in a journal even, you know, whatever you need it to be. Very quickly, even though I was using small scraps, it still came together very quickly, and even quicker if you're using bigger pieces to collage with. Right, there we go, that's good enough. Good enough. Right, so let's just trim around the edges. And I can feel there are some places where I do need to go in and add some more glue, but that's okay. Now this I suspect is not at all straight, so I might have to do a bit of straightening up, but that's okay too. And I'm also trimming off where I didn't get right up to the edge of the junk mail. So yeah, right. I'm being ruthless. It's like, right, throw these away. You don't need them. You've got plenty of stamping strips. Right, there is a little bit of glue stuck on this, so I'm just going to grab a baby wipe and give it a very careful wipe. These are, of course, quite damp because they're straight out the packet. But yeah, there's quite a sticky bit there. Another bit there. So yes, if you're doing this with a baby wipe or wet wipe, just be very, very gentle and very careful, and don't sort of go in there rubbing, or even just leave it on the paper for a little bit, because it's going to create issues with things. Oops, which I've just done there. That will dry and it will be okay, but to show you, that's what happens if you use something that's too wet. You end up damaging your item. But, you know, worst case scenario, you just put a focal image over top and it's sweet. Right, now how big? I don't want to do giant cards. I think I want them to be able to fit in an envelope. So this is too wide, I feel. I feel like I need to trim off. So I think I trim down about there. So let's see if I can get it kind of straight. Maybe. I can't actually see the marks on my mat, so I'm going to line up my ruler with the edge of my cutting mat and then just hope that that's straight enough. So just gonna cut down there. Oops. With a few layers, it sometimes needs a bit more pressure or a couple of goes to get through. Right, so this would be good for a belly band or a side tuck. or something like that to make ephemera for a journal. So that one will be for that. And these I'm going to cut into journal cards. So this is my typical size of a journal card, which is the Reader's Digest page folded in half. So I might make it slightly wider. Yeah, let's go with that. Now, I don't know whether I'll get 2 or 3 out of this, so let's just see. And I should wait until the glue's completely dry to do this, but you know, I'm on camera and all that, so I haven't got time to wait. Let's just get into it. The risk is that I damage something, but that's all good. It's all scraps. It's all, yeah, see, that's not straight at all. That's all right. I can fix it up. Like, what do I lose except a bit of time? And I've gained a whole lot of fun. So, like, I don't see it as a problem, even if I end up damaging something. If I'd gone ahead and decorated everything and then damaged something, that would perhaps hit me a little harder. But then you can just layer it up again, you know. You can turn it into something else. Right, so I've got 2 journal cards and random sizing. I don't think they need to be all the same size, different sizes. I want to round the corners on those, and this one could be a small journal card or it could be a tag. So I'm going to pop that with my belly band strip. Now I'm going to hope that these are dry enough. Do I need to first straighten them up? Well, actually it's not as bad as what I thought. Let's try this one just before I commit to, yeah, that one's not straight. So I might just try with my scissors to straighten it up a little bit. Always a bit risky just going and doing it with scissors, because you take a bit here, then oops, take another bit over here, and you just very easy to end up with nothing. No, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Right, now hoping that glue is dry enough to not worry my corner rounder. There we go. That one seems to be coping okay, which is nice. Oops, a bit of cat hair caught in there. That's a hazard of this household. There's cat hair everywhere. Right, just get rid of those little bits. Oh. Fussing. Right, go in with a bit of Distress ink just to give them that framed out look. And on the back as well. Right, how are we going for time? Not too bad. I might just do one of these. I won't ink both of them right now because I don't want to bore you with the tedium, but just to show you my process and to make it look more finished. Grab just a quick sip of my coffee, which is stone cold. That is typical. Right. Let's see. I did some things the other day. Where did I put them? Okay, here they are. In the whole book challenge, one of the ladies was doing painted, stamped and painted ephemera from the whole book challenge, and I got some of that done over the weekend. So this is all the things I've created from that challenge so far. I did a video in the first week of October for the whole book challenge, and I've got another one coming up this week, and I've got lots of people's that I need to catch up on. So every day a person is taking 16 pages and making things with them. And so there's a bunch of us that are doing the videos, and then anybody's welcome to join in. And if you want to share what you've been making, then come along to the Facebook group that Tanya Bomar, who set up this challenge, her Facebook group is where you can share pictures of those, or you can jump into my Facebook group if you prefer. But her Facebook group is Tatty Treasures and Friends, so I'll put that in the description box if you want to jump in there. And these videos are always going to be available, so you don't have to do it during October. You can jump in anytime. But anyway, what she was doing was these, and she did die cuts as well, but I just kept it with stamping, and then I coloured these mostly with Inktense pencils. So I'm thinking maybe one of these would look cute. So I am going to fussy cut it, so I'm going to pop you on pause while I fussy cut it, because I don't want you to be completely bored. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've just cut it with a little border around it, and I've left these spaces in here because I've found that the very thin stems on the leaves do break off, because I have already used one in my personal journal. So I've just given it a little bit more stability by leaving those bits in there and adding the border, and it still looks good. I've also grabbed out this scrap of vintage sheet music, and I thought I just want to pop a bit of that down. And here I am creating more scraps. I think I want that torn as well. So on the decorating, I am more particular about torn or cut, you know, and what sort of look I want. Right, so if we pop, where do I want it? I like this mark making. I don't really want to lose that. Do I want to go middle? I don't tend to do a lot in the middle. But I do like it on the side. So I'm not covering all the mark making there. So maybe that's, yep, that's good. Right. Just gonna, oh, I've got sponge crumbs all over the back. Right, I'm just cutting it to size so I know where I'm gluing, and I haven't got it straight, and I don't mind. I think it all just adds to the look if it's not straight, because none of the rest of it is oriented a certain way, so it's all good. Please excuse me, just got a little dry tickle appeared in my throat. It's all the talking. And there might be a little bit of dust in the air too with the fire. We haven't had to light it for a few days. Oh, we did light it Sunday morning actually, because I washed my hair and don't want to get a chill. I've had enough of being sick, so we did have it going Sunday morning. But then today's the first time we've lit it since Sunday morning, so it could be just a little bit ash or dust or something in the air as well. Get off my fingers. There we go. Oops, upside down. I want it that, I don't know why, but I just prefer it this way up. Right, pop that there. So I really like how these flowers turned out. I'm trying to think of the name of the lady that did this idea. Jessica, I think. I can't remember her surname on it's under her own name on YouTube. But if you go to the whole book challenge, search whole book challenge, you will see the video in the list. If I can find it, I'll link it because very, very effective. I love it. It's a great idea. And nice and different in amongst a lot of pockets and tags and journaling cards and pages and all that sort of thing of making. It's really nice to have something different to do. Right, I want some sort of label. So I do have these ones. These ones are Printables by Marty Joe, I think is the name of the shop on Etsy. And the little apothecary type labels, maybe not that shape. Super fun. Yep, I really like that. Now I didn't ink around the flower, and I'm quite, that was well, it kind of wasn't deliberate, but I'm quite happy that I didn't. But I am going to ink around this wee label, and it's just light, like I haven't re-dipped my sponge in the ink. It's just what's the residue that's on it, and it just gives it a very slight colour around the edge, not very dark. Yep, I like that there. I think that's cool. Since this is small, I'll just fold that page in half again. And look, I'm throwing something else out. Goodness, what's come over me? Do I want it? No, I might put it up here actually. Here we go. Yep, and that looks good. Happy with that. And let's go for some numbers. I do like using numbers. If I can reach them behind me. No, that's not numbers. Wrong container. I have yet to label my little containers. Mostly I can see in what's in them, but I do want to get them labelled so I know what's what. Right. Don't want a big number, I don't think. Where do I want it? I think I'll put it in that bottom corner. I think that looks the best. Sorry, that's probably very loud in your ears. Clicking the container closed. And I'm not going to ink the number either. So I don't think it needs to stand out that way. There we go, just a little bit where the corner rounder didn't catch. So take that off. Oh, that didn't stick down very well. Right, so there's a little journal card. I'm not sure whether I want to add anything more. I'm thinking maybe some stamping in the background would be quite nice. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. I might as well finish it completely so you can see the end result. What do we want to stamp it with? Try and just find something quickly here. Let's do some splatters. I do like splatters. Splatters are fun. So this is a set I got from AliExpress from a shop called Frogs and Squirrels, I think. No, Squirrels and Frogs. I was kind of right. So I'll just use black. My little splatter. And I'm not worrying about making sure it stamps perfectly. Just catching it here and there in places and making sure I vary the direction so it doesn't look the same in all places. And just to add a bit more interest onto the card. And I'm thinking I'm not done yet. How's that? Don't think I'm done yet. Thinking maybe some script. Where's my script stamp? This one. This is a relatively new set, also from Squirrels and Frogs. It's called no, it's not called Thanksgiving Ball. It's called, I don't know. Don't know that it has a name. Don't know if they name their stamp sets. But it's got lots of different tickets, and it's got this really lovely small script. In fact, I'm not going to use the block. Just going to dip it in and then get sort of more random. And I think I've got it upside down. So let's go the right way up. Not that it matters. I'm not worried about getting it straight or anything. But just I think it looks more, I don't know, normal. Right, that's enough. Just a little touch, just to add that detail and cohesiveness to the overall look. Right, pop that back in there, the right way up this time. Right, so there, I am calling that done. Just a fun little collaged journaling card that I can use as a thank you gift. So I hope that's given you an idea. As I said, it's nothing that's terribly new or revolutionary or anything. It's just the practicality of using stuff we've got to make things that we need. That's it in a nutshell. So thank you for joining me for Trashcraft Tuesday this week, and I will see you back for the next one, the next video. Take care, and I'll see you later. Bye.